Hey guys, what's going on? It's Sovereign. Welcome back. We're playing Fallout, of course. Of course. I'm probably not going to stop playing this game until The Division comes out.
Actually growing pretty good
Hey,
lately.
hey, I'm trying to talk. Be quiet. So I was asked to make like a weapons modding guide. Now, I've never made anything like this before, to be honest with you, and I usually try and stay away from things that are more opinion based. But because I feel like a lot of the weapon modifications come down to what you prefer as a player. But nonetheless, I can still kind of give you guys a crash course, as it were, in weapon modding and what you need to take into consideration when you do that. So before you even think about modifying your weapons, first you need to know what kind of weapons you want to use. What kind of player do you want to be? What kind of, do you want to be sneaky? Do you want to be up in their face with shotguns or with fully automatic assault rifles? Do you want to be close in their face with pistols? Do you want to be long range with rifles? It just depends. So, if you want to be the kind of player that I am, which is I prefer semi-automatic weapons like pistols and one-shot rifles, bolt action, things like that, Gunslinger is a great perk because I use pistols a lot. In fact, I favor pistols. I use the Deliverer all the time. As long as I have the 10 mil ammo for it, I primarily use that for every battle, like every one. So this is a great perk to have. Again, I like long range sniping, so I choose the Rifleman because it doubles my attack power with this, and it has a chance to ignore 30% of a target's armor at this final rank. And it also has a slightly higher chance of crippling a limb. I mean, all these are great benefits, so again, know which kind of player you want to be. I've started dabbling in fully automatic weapons, so I've put a few points in Commando as well. It's always good to have, and it does do really, really good increases in weapon damage. It's definitely worth it. Also, if you want to use weapons that fire lead at people, you're going to want to go with the Gun Nut perk. This will unlock higher rank mods for you to use with your weapons, which will be hugely impactful in how good your weapons are, or how bad they are if you don't unlock it. You'd be amazed. Sometimes you can double the damage of a single weapon just by adding a receiver that's better than the one that already has on it. So I'd look into that. If you like melee weapons, Blacksmith is what you want to go for. It will allow you to, of course, upgrade with higher rank mods for your melee weapons. So if you're a melee player, make sure you focus a little bit more on the Blacksmith perk. And then for you laser guys out there, if you use laser and plasma weapons, you're going to want to go with Science. Now, there are some energy weapons out there that take both the Gun Nut and the Science perk, so honestly, it wouldn't hurt you to use both. Like the Gauss rifle, that does take Gun Nut and Science perks to fully increase whatever you want on it. So I would recommend taking both perks a little bit. Also, Scrapper. This is very important for those of you that are energy weapon users. It'll allow you to salvage rarer components from any scrapped items like circuitry, nuclear material, and fiber optics, which of course are all going to go into making your laser weapons. So that one's very important. So before you even touch weapon modding, guys, know what kind of player you are. Do you favor pistols? Do you favor rifles? Do you favor both? Do you favor automatic rifles? Fully automatic rifles, anyway. And if so, use your gun nut perk. Do you like melee? Choose blacksmith. Do you like the energy weapons? Use scrapper and probably some gun nut as well. So once you've figured that out and you've gotten that out of the way, I'll just give you a basic rundown of what each upgrade kind of does. I'm just going to use my, well, let's use my sniper rifle as an example, I suppose. Now, I have a 308 receiver in this. With some sniper rifles, you can actually change the receiver that they use, giving it more power or allowing you to use a more powerful firearm type with a bullet that's, I can go from a 38, I can go from a 50, I can go from a 308. I choose the 308 because it's better. This gun actually shoots 50s, but I chose 308. It's just got more power to it. The receiver, pretty much what it's going to do is it will determine power, rate of fire. It can determine weight, of course, too. And also it can determine, right here you can see, armor penetration as well. Not all weapons will have an armor penetrating receiver, but it's still not a bad idea. If you're somebody that's not concerned with all-out damage, but rather punching through people's armor to get that damage, then you want to take a look through the receivers a little more closely. Of course, there's also automatic receivers, which will take it from a semi-automatic to a fully automatic, but again, that's just not how I roll. I can't do that. Also, some receivers will increase rate of fire as well, so you have to look very carefully. What kind of player are you? And then you'll have to choose from there. Barrels, obviously, the shorter the barrel, the less accurate the gun is going to be. The longer the barrel, generally the more accurate it's going to be, but depending on which barrel you choose, like this one is the ported barrel, it actually improves the recoil and the range and the sighted accuracy of the gun, but basically, the better your sighted accuracy, the more poor your hip fire accuracy is. So, depending on what kind of player you are, if you're a close-up kind of player, I would probably focus more on hip fire accuracy over long range accuracy, to be honest with you. So maybe, a long light barrel or a long barrel, something that doesn't have as poor hip fire accuracy, even a short barrel, whatever works for you. The stock, obviously, this is going to help you maintain focus on the target and keep you shooting straight. I go with the recoil compensating stock because it just improves your recoil control and it allows you to line up the next shot much faster, and it allows you to hit what you're aiming with. So the recoil compensating stock is definitely my preferred stock, but again, the accuracy doesn't go up that much with it. I could honestly pick a marksman stock too, but I like the exceptional recoil control over the superior recoil control. For mags, I did pick the large quick eject mag. You can simply go with a large or just a medium quick eject, but obviously I want higher ammo capacity and I want to be able to reload faster. When you're in combat, having to reload, as we all know, I'm sure from Twitch shooters like Call of Duty, it'll kill you if you got to reload sometimes. So having less reloads or less reload time is always a good thing. Now, I am using this gun generally for very, very long range engagement, so I actually have the medium scope on it, but most of the time I use the short scope. You don't want to sight it too magnified, because if you do, it's going to blind you to everything in your peripheral vision, and then you're not going to be able to see anybody who's actually coming at you. Also, if you get into a close range engagement, you're going to want to be able to see the enemy if you need to put your scope up and hard scope them. So it's kind of up to the player's choice there. It really falls to what you like to do. Then there's also the recon scope, which I do not have on my gun. I just don't favor the way that it looks on the gun, honestly. It's as simple as that. It's a great scope. When you look through the scope and you see an enemy in the sights of this scope, it will actually highlight the enemy with a triangle above their head, and it will track them through walls, similar to some things in like the Call of Duty games, for example. But I just don't like the way it looks with the gun. It does not fit. It looks like more of an energy weapon kind of item, so I don't prefer it. But it is very useful nonetheless. And then the muzzle. For the muzzle, you can pick things like bayonets, compensators, and muzzle brakes to help you with your recoil control. I prefer suppressors because not only does it give you recoil control and improved per shot recoil, it does suppress the weapon, obviously, and I am a sneaky kind of player, so I like to sneak up on people and pick them off from far away. It does hit your range a little bit, but if you have the right stock, the right sight, and the right barrel, you won't have a problem with that. Now, let's go with things like, well, here's the Gauss rifle, but let's do the irradiated laser musket. The main difference between guns that fire lead and guns that fire lasers and plasma are the capacitors. The capacitor is a lot like the receiver of the other guns, except what this capacitor will do is allow you to increase basically the ammo capacity of the weapon, but it will also increase the damage of the weapon with certain ones. With this one, it does not. But this one will allow the weapon to hold more ammunition. Let's go to the Gauss rifle. So here's the capacitors. I just put full capacitors on it. It gives me better ammo capacity and better damage. When I get the capacitor boosting coil, it will further both of those. So also on laser pistols and things like that, the capacitor can light people on fire depending on which one you choose. And then of course you've got your barrels. Like with any other gun, you want the longer barrel for better range and accuracy if you're going to be fighting people from far. You get the stock, you've got the sights. It's all pretty much the same with all of these weapons beside the capacitors, although there are some laser weapons that have like beam focusers and beam splitters as well, which will of course increase or decrease damage, but also increase or decrease accuracy based on which ones you choose. Now again, this is all down to personal preference for the person that's actually going to be firing the weapon. Shut up, Settler. And again, I don't want to tell you guys how to play the game. I was just asked to do this and give you guys kind of a brief overview of how it works. So if this doesn't help you, I apologize, but for those of you that asked, I hope it does help you. And thank you guys so freaking much. Again, we're almost at 700. This is amazing. I appreciate it so much, you guys. If you enjoyed the video or if you found it helpful or in any way informative, then please go ahead and drop it a like. That would be appreciated. If you're new, then go ahead and hit that subscribe button before you take off as well. But in the meantime, I have to go to class, so I have to take off. All right, guys, thank you so much, and I'll see you guys very soon. Bye.